Right then, you horrible lot. It is the moment you've all been waiting for. It is the moment I empty my sack, live on the internet for all to see. I'm going to have a rundown of the kit I took and used on the coast to coast, what worked, what didn't. Let you know price range. I did try to do it on a budget. There are certain areas where you can't cut corners, which leads me straight on to the boots. Carry more, mend it, freeze. I think Traeger Mills I bought these from, and they were give or take 50 quid. I don't know what, maybe a bit more, maybe 65, I can't remember. Leather, meant to be waterproof and breathable. Complete and utter letdown. Comfortable enough, but as soon as any water hit them, this is after I proofed them, after I tested them, any water hit them and my feet were drenched. And anyone that's watched the videos will see that landed me in a world of stuck. So yeah, gonna go for boots, do a bit of research, a little bit more expensive, find something quality, because they were as much use as a chocolate teapot. Right, secondly, the bag. Now, I'd loaded up my food just before I went, and it basically just went over the comfortable packing size for my forclaz 50. So I loaded up an old rucksack I had, made my way up there. The old rucksack I had was heavier and wasn't my favourite. So I popped into Decathlon on the way and thought the forclaz 50 worked a treat. I'll get the forclaz 70. It's bigger brother. Should be a reasonable bag. 50 is absolutely fine, very comfortable, does everything I need to do. This, I'll run through the good bits first. As you can see at the front, it opens up right the way around the front. It's like a suitcase. You can get to everything that you need. Absolutely superb. What else is good about it? The side pockets are really big and they hold like you can still get to everything. Everything else about this bag is absolutely cake and arse, apart from somebody has eaten all the cake. It is terrible. Currently, the best thing about this bag is the fact it still stinks of BO from me wearing it. The straps at the back, when the chest straps are done, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see that, pull into a knot and dig in. The hip belt is as next to useless as you can get. That's the thing. As you can see here, these aren't even loaded. Come here, sheephead. Tell everyone why you're interrupting. Go on. Forgive the clicking and cracking about, my boys just walked through. As you can see, these are nests. These aren't fully loaded. Your bottle isn't very secure in there. And as such, I lost a pair of flip-flops and a bottle of water en route. By the by. Basically, if you're thinking about buying this, I'm a big advocate of Quechua stuff. Don't. If a loved one buys this for you, they don't love you. Every aspect of it is terrible. 50 quid I paid for this from Decathlon, and as I say, I absolutely rate Quechua stuff, as you'll soon find out, completely. They're a brilliant brand. This is so bad, it had to be designed to be this bad. End of. Anyway, I'll run through what I've got in all of the pockets, just so you can see. We'll start off at the top. First things first, first aid kit. A little bit depleted, got stuff like, you're not going to see it all, bandages, medication, heartburn tablets, paracetamol, ibuprofen. Normally in there as well, I've taken it out and used it on a different camp for firelighting. Something like, what are they called? Sanitary pad, in case you get a big wound, you can use it as a field dressing. Yeah, always have that handy up top. The little windsock for my GoPro that is on recording me at the moment. These are brilliant. Now, many of you I'm sure are familiar with Wild Ginger Bruce. Well, his good lady makes soaps. Now I took one of these soaps with me, or used the whole one of the soaps. The rest are still in their entirety. As you can see there, all made from natural products, so you can use them in rivers and things like that, and they've all got separate uses. For example, you've got that one there, lilac game prep soap. So if you've prepared game like pigeon, rabbit, whatever, and you know how much that stinks, that gets rid of the stench. You've got, where are we? Beard shampoo, which would be that one. You know, you can't, you've got a soother sting, which is green in colour, clean cut like glue. There's bug off. The yellow one is to remove bugs. You know what I mean? What more can you want? That worked absolutely brilliantly. Basically, of an evening, I'd get the soap I've used, which was an antibacterial soap, the one I used, scrape off some shavings, use some water, yeah, clean myself up, dry myself with a towel. I was away. So yeah, thank you, Wild Ginger Bruce's wife. For the life of me, I cannot remember your name. I'll put something to run along the screen, but thank you very much. They were brilliant. Rain kilt from 3UFL, 3FUL even. Basically some waterproof material that goes around you like a skirt, save you wearing waterproof trousers. A tenner from AliExpress. Never got to use it. If it's anything like the other kit I've got from them, I can't see there being a problem. Opinel, never go anywhere without an Opinel. Up top, easy to get hold of. Some small sun cream. I had a couple of those. As you saw, I didn't really need it apart from one of the days, because it didn't stop bleeding raining. And what else we got? A little cheap and cheerful £5–10 stove, wood burning stove, which also used as a windshield for my meths or gas if needed. And of course a fire striker. You never know when your lighter's going to give up. Top pocket done. We'll go to the side pockets next. I always had one full bottle of water, or try to have, in there. Gloves. Now these gloves, Quechua, once again, I think there's only about £3. Really, really, really good as gloves. Kept me warm up on top of the mountaintops. I only needed them the one day because being a slightly rotund, I don't really suffer much from the cold. What they did do, I wrapped them around the straps and it decreased a little bit the torture that was the bag. So they was good on two fronts. What else we got in here? Sun hat I took with me. Got this one from Mountain Warehouse, I think. As you see, it's been well used. Didn't use it. Soil wilt water filter. Superb bit of kit. I cannot rate this enough. I know people complain about the flow rate. Taking 5 minutes out of your day to fill up your water bottles, making sure that you can carry her a lot lighter than what you normally would. I really can't argue with it. I rate that bit of kit. About 20, let's say 25 to 30 quid. Worth every penny in my eyes. Foldable cup from hot chocolate at night. Works a treat. After, so I'd say about 10 uses, it actually got rid of the plasticky taste, rubbery taste to it. What else have I got? Little mini trowel, we all know what that's for. And a couple of spare pegs. Inside the other one, spare water bottle, which would obviously be full. Swiss Army penknife, speaks for itself. And a long-handled spork for getting into the bags of food without getting your knuckles all mucked up with carbonara. Another AliExpress buy that. So far, apart from the boots and the bag, everything has worked out really, really well. And that's that empty. Right. Move on to, I'll show you these while we're here, I'll get them out of the way. You've all seen me wearing my flat cap. Goes everywhere with me, love it. I had a selfie stick come tripod, which worked pretty well. So much so, I did take a really lightweight tripod with me, which I'm filming now, using to film now, and it never made it off the top of the bag, so straight on top. We have the Quechua 10 litre poncho. It covered the bag and myself, and in heavy downpours it stopped me getting wet. The downside to it is, as you can imagine, it's like the old style waterproofs you used to get. They're boiling a bag. It can make you sweat if you're moving a lot or in a humid, wet and rainy place, but you do get ventilation through the sides. The second thing I use this for is I would pop it open, turn it upside down and add a ground sheet for my tent, and it worked well as that. Can't really complain about it. It cost me a tenner from Decathlon because, once again, it's Quechua, and it served its purpose. I'm not going to say if I'd done the trip again I would use it again, because I'd possibly go for either a better poncho or some really lightweight waterproofs. It was definitely, it served its purpose. I can't really complain too much about it. I could, but I'd be a idiot. What do we have here? Cook's kit, some of which is missing. So we have a generic lightweight cup and bowl. I think that is 800 milliliter bowl. Inside there I have a little cloth for drying up, washing up, etc. My cheap and nasty stove, which worked absolutely superbly. Once again, these are generic. You can get them anywhere, Amazon, eBay, wherever you like. And I'd also have a gas canister in there. I took a 500 gram canister and probably used about 200 grams out of it, so I overpacked there, but it all fit in one nice pouch. Yeah, lovely job. The cook's kit itself was, I think it's about £6. It was under a tenner, and it works a treat. A little bit tippy, I'd say, if I had to be ultra critical, but if you look at one of my other videos where you see me knocking it over, that has got a lot more to do with me being a ham-fisted spadoofer than the kit not working right. Quechua down jacket, can't argue with it. Used it on God knows how many of my videos. I didn't use it on the coast to coast, didn't need to. It always goes everywhere with me though. It's small, it's light, it does the job. What else we got in here? Let's have a little look, shall we? Right, this is just some more ibuprofen gel. Yeah, more stuff to keep myself active and mobile. Baby powder for my feet, Vaseline, zinc oxide tape. You can't go anywhere without zinc oxide tape. I know my feet were a car crash, that would have been so much worse if I didn't have that. Yeah, I went through 2 rolls of that stuff. Toothpaste, all that sort of stuff, all in there. So I had heat gel, I had the freeze gel, and I had ibuprofen gel. Yeah, definitely worthwhile. One thing I haven't got in here that I did bring was a little microfiber towel, which obviously is in conjunction with that, so I could keep myself and my plums clean. That's what's left of my drinks pack, hot chocolates, coffees and things like that. I haven't got any of my food in here. I did take a few of those, which are just porridges, add hot water, and they're actually really, really good. I think I got them from Tesco's. But other than that, yeah, lighters, and yeah, hot chocolates, coffees, and a couple more tablets. Speaks for itself. You know how much coffee and fluids you drink, take what you need. I haven't got any of the food here because I ate it all. One thing I would say is I drastically overpacked with my food. I must have easily had 5 kilos of food with me. My boil in the bags meals worked out spot on. I had them every single day. My wife made me some oat bars, granola bars, which were packed full of energy. And yeah, they worked an absolute treat, but they did weigh some. At the start, I had a full weight of just over 25 kilos. At the end, when I got on the plane, I had a weight of 14.5 kilos. Now, I obviously had emptier water bottles then, and my food was gone. So it just goes to show how much I didn't have to carry, and what a idiot I was. Sleep mat. Just cheap and nasty, little inflatable. Let's have a look. It puffs up to 6 centimetres, 48 centimetres wide, and 177 centimetres long. For my American viewers, that will be, have a bleeding look, don't know. Right, something that worked absolutely amazingly well, and I'd recommend anybody get. This is the Quechua helium pillow. I believe now they could be about 12 quid off of the Decathlon website. What you have is an inflatable pillow, has a slight bit of padding on the top. Done. And that is unbelievably comfortable. Yeah, it's revolutionised the way I sleep on the floor, because normally I wouldn't. Sorry, I'm sweating like a madman in here. It's hotter than a Romford gasman. So, helium pillow, I would recommend to anyone. I know a couple of other people have started using them now. Sandy asked me about them from the Wiltshire Man, and he's bought one. Paul Bisker's got one. They're an amazing bit of kit, especially for the price. I would recommend anybody go for that. The sleep mat also worked well. A little bit thin, you know, but it done the job. I was never cold on it, and I was always comfortable on it. The Flames Creed Lanshan one with pegs and everything in there. It worked absolutely fantastically. I bought mine from AliExpress for a grand total of 64 quid. Took about 3 weeks to get to me. I've used in some howling conditions. It didn't fail on me once with the waterproofness of it. Slight condensation issues at times, nothing major. I was just tended to pitch it a bit higher. The one downside to it is I'm not a tall man. I'm 5'9" / 10 on a good day, and I find it just a little bit, literally an inch or two, too short. My head's just started to touch the netting, which I don't like. You know, I don't like anything in my face. But as a standalone shelter, perfect. The one thing I did screw up on, because I had the 500-gram canister, it made my stove that much taller. If I'd have had the 300 or even the 100, I'd have been able to cook a lot easier inside the vestibule. But you live and you learn, didn't you? I did manage to peg the doors up and away with my walking pole, and that obviously gives you a much higher windbreak. It worked a treat. I cannot rave about this tent enough. For the price, it was phenomenal. Right, what's next? Okay, we have a solar charger. Now this, did I need to bring it? I was trying to go for a completely self-sufficient trip, whereas I wouldn't need to go in and charge my phones, etc, etc. I did bring with me 2 power packs. I'll bring out the electricals bag. One of the power packs is in here. I had a 10,000 and a 25,000 milliamp. So this thing on a full day of sunlight would charge that completely. That would give me 2 days worth of charge for my phone and for my GoPro. So when this one was charged, I'd be charging the other one. I always, absolute bare minimum, even if there was no sunlight for God knows how long, would have 2 days worth of charge. It absolutely worked, to be honest with you. Didn't have a lot of sunshine, but I mean, even now you can see it working. It's turned towards me. That was not a lot of money. It was under 20 quid. Once again, just I'm not going to put links up to each and everything because they change price all the time. They're pretty much generic. You know, you do your own research and take a punt. But that really worked. I got to the finish with a full charge on my 24,000 milliamp one, which is 4.5, 5 charges of my phone and GoPro. So yeah, worked absolutely brilliantly. That's them. A little thing for my phone to hook onto the Booberry selfie stick. Generic microphone, which worked to a treat. It did let itself down a few times. Torches, head torch. Yeah, all the stuff that you want to keep dry. And that simply hung over the top of my bag when I was walking. I'd put the charger in there or my phone in there, plug it in with the lead, away we go. Especially if you was doing a really long hike. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. It worked a treat. Right. Let's have a little look in here, shall we? Don't forget combat stress. We absolutely smashed the target for combat stress. I can't thank you buggers enough. I think I'll put down I wanted to raise £1,000. I'm currently on 1,600 quid. Thank you. Everyone that's supported me and donated. It's been amazing. So thank you very much. I'll leave a link to the challenge at the end of the video or at the bottom of the comment section. If you can give, please do. But I've been amazed by your generosity. Right, now we come to the clothing. The only bit of clothing that's missing out of here is I have got a Quechua like fleece jumper that I wear, £3 I think from Decathlon. First things first, you'll have seen it on every day of every vid. It is an icicle wicking quick drying top, walking top from Mountain Warehouse. About a tenner, worked an absolute treat. I've got my muff buff, what are these things called? Went over my head, went over my arm, went over my neck, went over my mouth. Dried myself, you name it, I used it. Absolutely brilliant bit of kit. 3 pairs of socks. 2 merino wool and 1 that wasn't. I was meant to take these ones with Danish endurance, but like a prat, I picked up the wrong pair. Pair of shorts, once again, wore them every day. And a pair of leggings for if I got up and it was a little bit cold. Yeah, lovely job. Once again, all on a budget. In here was a fleece, another Quechua fleece. I think this was under £5. Worked an absolute treat, so much so that I didn't use my down bag, my down top. I barely use this, to be honest with you. I tried my damnedest to keep this as clean as I could so that I didn't stink on the way home, because the one thing doing the coast to coast, you end up stinking. You wash your clothes as much as you can. With my socks, I'd have a clean pair for sleeping in, I'd have a pair for walking in, and I'd have a pair to change into for the next day. Wash them out as much as possible, leave them on the outside of your sack to dry. Yeah, a lot of the time, because it was raining constantly, I would wring them out as much as I could, dry them as much as I could, and then I'd put them next to my legs, under my leggings, while I lay down for the night or go to sleep, and in the morning they'd be dry. So yeah, just completely rotate your socks all of the time. Because you've got to look after your feet. Anyone that's seen the video will understand it is no laughing matter when your feet are knackered. Yeah, it was bad. It was real bad. So there's your socks. And there's your fleece. And some more zinc oxide. Finally, I've got my White Wolf sleeping bag, and covering that, my Tyvek bivvy bag. Now, what I chose to do with this, rather than put everything inside a waterproof sack, I covered up my bivvy bag, covered up my sleeping bag with my bivvy bag, and just put it in as normal in its stuff sack into the bottom of the the bag. Worked a treat. A tenner that cost me from AliExpress for that bivvy bag. And although it's filthy and honking, it kept me dry. It probably gave me an extra couple of degrees, and yeah, I really can't argue. Apart from the colour, it's one of the most convenient bits of kit I took on the trip, and it works superb. The actual sleeping bag itself, so bloody perb. I've used this now for 18 months. Give or take 1 or 2 camps, and I go out a lot. I've used this all year round. It's been out with me with down to about -5, not skipped a beat. It's been absolutely brilliant. Once again on... Oi! For the sleeping bag, the White Wolf sleeping bag, this has now been my main sleeping bag for about 18 months. I've gone down to about -5 with it. It hasn't skipped a beat, it really hasn't. The one thing I would say, if you're a slightly larger gentleman, I'm not small by any means. I'm a little bit chubby still, and not the tallest, and it's snug with me, but there's plenty of room. It's fine. If you're a bigger man, you will struggle with it. It comes from China. You know, I'm not sure. They make these through different brands, and I've seen them on AliExpress. They've gone up. I bought this for about 25 quid, I think it was. They've gone up now to about 40 to 60 quid. And at that price point, I still thoroughly recommend them. They're on eBay as well. Just have a look round, because they were about 40 quid when I was looking at one, and I got one on special offer. And I've never looked back. Been absolutely brilliant. One of the buys of the century. So a quick summary then. Carry more, mend it free. Utter crock of shite, waterproof wise. The bag, the forclaz 70. If it was a woman, I wouldn't touch it with a stolen dick. It was terrible. I mean, terrible. Do you know what it was? It was terrible. But everything else seemed to work all right. There's a few things I would change out. I'd change out my poncho. Yeah. And I'd probably go for a couple of lightweight things. I'd possibly change out my sleep pad. Not because it didn't work, but because I think you can get lighter, more comfortable things. And shock horror, even though I rate it, and I mean 850 grams this when you're packed up, and it does pack up a lot smaller than what I got it here. I'd probably change my tent out for a tarp and bivvy system. I'd probably go for the MLD trail. I'd probably go for the MLD Trail Star, or have a go at making myself, or maybe get a Schneid one, the 3FUL one or the Flames Creed version. It creates a really rigid shelter, and if you add the mesh nest to it, yeah, you've got a cracking bit of kit for about the same weight, but you haven't got those restrictions in height. It does pitch a bit. It can be tricky to pitch if you're not on a decent levelish ground, or if there are tufts about. The way to do it is, although it's all attached, pitch the outer when you're pegging out, get all that taut and everything in the right position, and then use the elastics of the inner and put that in after. You'll get a much more rigid pitch with that. Still a cracking tent, don't get me wrong. I will be using this a lot. As I say, just that fraction too small for me. And over 10 days, these sort of things start to annoy you a bit. But no, brilliant bit of kit for a brilliant walk. Didn't actually have a look in now. Still got some nuts only going in the bin. What else did I forget from inside me sack? Me windproof jacket. It was a little £10 windproof jacket I got from TK Maxx. I'll put a link up to it or something. I can't remember what the name of it was now. It sort of did the job. It was, once again, brilliant when the wind was blowing on you, but it did make you sweaty. So, yeah, something performance it was called. And that's about that. I had a compass. Oh, maps. Very important. How can I forget the maps? Now, the first couple of days, I started off using the Coast to Coast 1 in 25 route planner map by Cicero. This is good for starting fires, and that is about it. The detail on it, you know, because it's so small, you come a little way off and you're you're not finding your way. And there was one part where I went, where am I? This part here, basically I overshot where I was meant to be and you couldn't see where you were. So that utter shite. If you're looking for one, what I would recommend, I moved to the A to Z adventure series for the coast to coast walk. Never had an issue. Absolutely brilliant bit of kit. Oh, the thing with this one, it doesn't have stuff like pubs and car parks or anything marked on it. So you could be walking through a village and you know where you are on the map and you say, okay, I'm at the red line or whatever. Not on there. So you don't know if you stood next to a house or whatever. It's that bad. This one, absolutely stunning. Yeah, real good addition. I'll probably use it again if it would last, because that was my map case. But I would recommend anyone give the challenge a go. If you are looking at doing it, decent boots, decent bag. Keep your weight down as much as possible. I wouldn't recommend on taking more than 15 kilo, and even that's too much. I'm sure lots of people will say in the comments that is way too much. I'm not spending hundreds and hundreds of pounds to get my kit down to as light as some of these lightweight hikers are. I'm just not. One, I can't afford it. I've got family, you know. If I spend 200 quid on a bleeding air mattress, I could have a day out down a little zoo or something with my kids for that, and I'd rather do that. But goodbye, absolutely superb bike. Go out and get yourself a helium pillow. They are the bollocks. Sorry, they are the dog stanglies. If anyone's got any questions on any of the kit here, as usual, I don't write anything down. I'm just shooting from the hip. If you need to know anything, leave a message. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, hook a brother up. I've recently picked up a few subs. Thank you very, very much. Yeah, I'd like it to continue. This bag, avoid like the plague. If you're in Decathlon and you can reach, because they're normally hung up quite high, whip your old fella out and have a lag, because it's terrible. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Even looking at it now, I can't stand it. Anyway, people, thank you very much for watching. Combat stress. Go and have a look at the challenge page. I've got 2 dead legs. From that, oh, you old git. Yeah. One thing I forgot to mention, I haven't got them to hand at the moment, walking poles. I had a cheap set of $7.99 Andy's walking poles from Amazon. They absolutely saved me. My knees would have given out going through the lakes without a shadow of a doubt. They picked up the speed walking on the flats. If you're going to do this trip, take walking poles. End of. There's no getting around it. Yes, you can get cheap lightweight ones, or like the ones I use. They weren't the lightest. They took my full weight at times when I was going for a Burton, and obviously I use them to hold up my tent. Do not forget walking poles. And when you look like me, it's obviously good to have them to beat off the women that are getting you confused with a young Russell Crowe. So definitely walking sticks, the shizzle, GoPro 7, forgot the GoPro 7. And before I forget, there's my little lightweight tripod thing that I never used. Absolutely brilliant bit of kit, but I can't really say much because I didn't use it. Thanks again.